I found crushed cereal under a table. Not spilled, crushed. Like someone stepped on it on purpose. Or in my case, in my room, probably rolled over it. And that was the least surprising thing I found. Welcome back to the Veteran Teacher Files. I'm the Dragon Lady, and today I'm telling on myself a little bit, and then I'm telling on my 28 middle schoolers a lot. So here's the situation. 10 days into the school year, my first year back in the classroom after being gone for 7, my first time teaching middle school, and I get told I have to attend a training, an all-day training. Not my choice, mandatory. And I have to be real about what I was actually dreading, because it wasn't the lesson planning. I got that part, no problem. I was dreading leaving my students, especially my 8th graders, especially my elective group. 10 days in, with a class and a group of students I don't really fully know just yet, and handing them off to a stranger. And here's the thing, looking back, I made some mistakes getting ready for my sub day. And I'm going to walk you through them because I think there's a lesson in here for anyone who's about to be out, whether you're brand new or you've been doing this for 25 years like me. So I'm going to walk you through my 4 mistakes, and then I'm going to tell on everybody else. So here we go. Mistake number 1. My students don't have fixed seats. We have this math program that does random grouping every week. So every week, new partners, new spot, which means I never bothered making a real seating chart. I had other things on my priority, things that I've been trying to do, and making a seating chart just wasn't it. So yeah, I told myself it wasn't worth it since it changes constantly. Mistake number 1. And what's worse is my elective. Because deep down inside, I know I don't love that class. So I haven't put in the effort to learn all 28 names. So even if I wanted to write down a seating chart, I couldn't have because I don't know them. On top of that, my classroom was left or set up with these flexible seating options. So I have these rolling chairs, swivel chairs, high chairs, low chairs. They're cute in theory, a little bit chaotic in practice. My core classrooms, my 7th and 8th graders, have a total of 20 chairs set up in a room, but my elective has 28. So every single day before my elective even starts, there's chaos with chairs. And that's on me. Because I don't have assigned seats, because I've let them choose their own groups, I made it harder on myself. That's 100% on me. And I think, again, it's because I just don't like this group of kids. I don't like the vocabulary they choose to use. And it's not really the whole class either. It's actually just 5 boys, maybe 6, who just can't stop using this racial slur. And it just drives me up the wall. And I've had to call them out on it several times and tell their parents on them. Because, yeah, I'm not afraid to call your mama. So, mistake number 2. Math and science, easy. I know what I'm doing there. Math was your practice because they had a test on Friday. Science was a video with guided notes, find the definition, find the example, answer a couple of reflection questions. Guided, structured, they knew what to do, and they came through. It was good. My elective? So I found a B video and I left the worksheet and I called it done. That was my mistake. I didn't leave instructions to watch the video first. I didn't build in any check that they were writing actual sentences instead of fragments. What I got back was garbage. Not gradebook worthy, just garbage. I graded it anyways, just to make a point, but yeah, it's not going to go in my gradebook. Now, to be fair, for just a second, the worksheet itself wasn't built well either. It had true or false, fill in the blank, multiple choice. I should have run it through AI and turned every question into a written response question. But the curriculum that I'm using was written for third grade through fifth grade. And I'm using it with seventh and eighth graders. So there's only so much rigor I can retrofit in a pinch. But that was my mistake. Mistake number 3. I'm new to the district. I don't know which subs are good. I've met plenty of substitutes over the years as an instructional coach, but most of them have either gotten hired into their own classrooms or they found actual paying jobs. So I had someone assigned to me, someone I've never met, with no track record I could check, which is mistake number 3. I didn't ask any of my coworkers who to request. I didn't ask for any references. Lesson learned for next time. Mistake number 4. Here's the one that actually mattered the most. I wrote 2 to 3 pages of subplans per class period, which sounds like a lot until I tell you what I left out. I didn't leave a single routine. Didn't tell her the kids walk themselves to me or that I walk them to lunch. Didn't tell her that the 7th graders and the 8th graders can't use the same bathrooms at the same time. I didn't tell her that she needed to walk them to the gate at dismissal. I didn't leave anything, just straight lesson plans. By the next day, I heard all about it. Not from my students, from my coworkers. Because my class was, in their words, running amok all day. Nobody was walking anybody anywhere. And this is the part where I have to give a shout out to this one teacher that I worked with some years ago. I was in her classroom and she had a binder. And in her binder, she just had the routines that never change. The emergency plan, a map of the school, who to call, routines such as which gate or who to walk or who walks to where or what, all the things, plus the sub plans. When I came back, I remembered that binder. I'm not there yet, but that's my goal. So give me a few more days, maybe a few more weeks, and I'll have my binder ready. All right, so that's enough about telling on myself. Now here's where it gets good. Thursday after my training, I swing by my classroom. I had bought some cleaning supplies because we have an ant problem, and I wanted to grab my students' math test so I could correct them and get it back to them. Sorry, my kids' homework, because I wanted to correct it and give it back to them for Friday's math test. So on my way in, I actually ran into the substitute on her way out, and she wasn't far from my door. Again, she didn't walk the kids out. She just kind of said, "Peace out, guys," and they walked her out. So she was hanging back, and I asked her how the day went. She didn't have a whole lot to say. It was kind of vague and short. The one thing she did open up about was that a girl used choice words. So we ended up walking back towards my room together while I dropped off my bag, and the second I opened the door, I saw it. The mess. Immediately. Obvious. Apparently just to me. And she just said, "Oh yeah, the kids were eating in your class." All casual like. Like that explained it. Case closed. And I just looked at her like, "What?" And she looked at me like I was the one being unreasonable. I don't think she had any idea what the mess actually looked like that she was leaving behind. Now, I've never been an actual sub in my life. I have I've covered a class period here or there. I've subbed half a day maybe. As an instructional coach, I got pulled to go cover classes. But let me tell you 2 non-negotiables. 1, don't leave a messy room behind. And 2, this one matters probably more. What I left behind were genuinely good subplans. Mine is my elective. I've written plenty of subplans over the years. And these were good. sometimes you don't leave good sub plants. Sometimes I've not left good sub plants. Not because I intended to. Sometimes life just happens. Sometimes you're planning when you're sick. Sometimes you're planning late at night because you didn't know that an emergency was going to happen and you have to be out tomorrow. Maybe you're planning while your head is completely somewhere else because somebody just had an emergency and they're in the hospital. But that's real life. And sometimes what gets left behind is really thin. And that's the exact moment when a substitute has to come in prepared. If the plans are weak, that's not a green light for you to just sit on your phone for 45 minutes and let the room run itself. That's not the job. Here's the inventory of what she actually left behind. 3 crushed water bottles. Crushed! Like my students were pretending they were the Hulk. 7 gum wrappers. 1 single piece of chewed gum. Flung somewhere in the room. Fresh enough that I could picture it actually flying through the air to land where I found it. Several broken pencils. And I mean this literally. I had 2 full 100 count boxes of sharpened pencils loaded into a little dispenser at the start of the year. Fed them in one by one, pull the lever, pencil pops out like an old soda machine. And 10 days into the school year, 200 pencils gone. What was left on the floor Thursday was chewed on, sharpened down to a nub for sport, snapped in half more than once. Whiteboards not erased. Some said something I don't want to repeat on air. Filled on the graph paper side of the whiteboard. Dry erase markers with the tips ground down from being spun on a pencil. Just my dry erase erasers with pencil hole punched through them. So, and then the cereal, Cocoa Puffs and Skittles, crushed and scattered across the entire room with one enormous pile concentrated under a single table. I want you to understand I specifically went in that day to lay ant bait. Because we are hot and dry and ants are hunting for water and crumbs. And my classroom, until that day, had never given them any. It took me 30 minutes just to sweep it all out. Behind the Promethean board, behind the couch, behind the cart, behind every nook, because those little cereal balls roll and we're next door to a field. And I'm not interested in finding out what comes looking for the cereal after the ants do. Then 20 more minutes washing pencil graffiti off every table. Smiley faces, so-and-so was here, that kind of thing. And look, I have a great custodian. I learned his name on day 1. I say hi to him every time I see him. He empties my trash, he vacuums and sweeps every night. But wiping down every table and digging cereal out of every corner of my room is a solid hour of work I was never going to ask him to do on top of everything else he has on his list. So I did it myself. And I recorded a little video message of myself doing all the cleaning, and I played it for my class. And what they told me lined up almost exactly with what I found scrubbing the floors. First thing I heard, a student got kicked out of my nicest class. My first guess was it was my elective, but nope. My second guess was one of my 8th graders. Nope. My 7th graders, the class I trust the most. And apparently she got kicked out for calling the substitute an obscenity I've generally never heard out of this particular girl. She's got attitude. I've made a call home before, but she's giggly and immature. Her go-to insult is more like, "You have penis breath," rather than the obscenity that got reported. When I asked the class what actually happened, 18 students unanimously said, "Nope, that's not what she said. The substitute's the one that let it get out of hand." Next period, I played the same video. This time, 14 students, also unanimous. The substitute was on her phone almost the entire period, chewing gum, going through your cabinets, and according to them, she took one of my sodas out of my mini fridge. I can't confirm it. I don't know how many were in there. Now here's what's interesting. For my 7th grade class, I left 4 to 5 pages of actual lesson plans. What she left me was this. Overall, good group. 1 student removed for choice words. That's it. For my 8th grade class, again, I left another 4 to 5 pages worth of lesson plans. She wrote, also good. 2 boys messing around a bit, but overall productive and on task. Like what? This tells me nothing. And then my elective, my hardest class, the one that I actually needed the most documentation. She left. This class was very rowdy. Misspelled. Roudy. That's it. That's the whole report for the whole class where I actually needed the details. One of my students told me, unprompted, that the substitute didn't look professional, which struck me, because we've actually talked about that in my class, about how I show up to work. I've told them straight out, I put in effort. The 1 day a week you'll catch me in jeans and a t-shirt is Friday, because by Friday I am genuinely tired. And apparently my sub showed up in jeans, sneakers, and a t-shirt, and my 13-year-olds noticed the double standard before I even had to point it out. So that's day 10. That's my first sub back in the classroom after 7 years in a grade I've never taught. I own my part, the seating chart, the instructions, the routines that I forgot to write down. But I also learned something about my kids in this process. 18 of them, and separately 15 of them, told me the exact same version of events, unprompted, in 2 different periods, with no chance to compare notes first. That's not nothing. That told me something about what I can actually trust from this group, even 10 days in. So here's what I want to know from you. What's the worst thing you've ever walked back into after a sub day? Or, if you've subbed yourself, what's the worst room you've ever been handed? Tell me in the comments. I want to hear it. This has been the Veteran Teacher Files. I'm the Dragon Lady. And if this one hit home, follow the show, like the video, share it with a teacher friend who needs to hear it, and leave a comment. I want to hear it. This has been the Veteran Teacher Files. I'm the Dragon Lady. If this one hit home, follow the show, like this video, share it with a teacher friend who needs to hear it, and leave a comment. It generally helps the algorithm get this in front of more people like you. See you next time.